Alright, hey everybody, I am at Martinsville here in career mode in the Xfinity series. Going to try to lay down a decent lap, then talk about the line I'm using, talk about the setup. I have ran a 19.6 with this. I'm hoping to get something on video that's in the 19.7s to kind of show what the setup can do. Then I'll talk about the line, show the setup, obviously, all that stuff that I normally do in the videos. I looked at the leaderboard. To be 10th all time, it's like a 19.51. So just over 19, just into the 19.5s. Very low 19.5s will put you 10th place. So I am about that was actually a pretty good lap right there. I'm about a tenth and a half off of that, which is pretty good for me. I'm kind of, I think, a mediocre driver. To be honest, but I do think I have some pretty decent setups, and I have setups that I think are pretty easy to drive for about anybody. But I ran a 19.705 there. I'm going to say that's pretty good. Let's start talking about the line I'm using, and then show the setup. I always like to get a decent lap, just so you know I'm not throwing a bunch of BS at you about what the setup can do. The marks I use on the track are the red signs going into turn 1. It is on the inside. Going into turn 3, it's on the outside. That red Toyota sign just before that is usually where I am trying to brake. I am on the brakes, I guess you would say moderate. It's not as hard as you would think being at a paperclip track, but that's partly because of the setup that it helps you turn. I don't really like the suggested line all that well. I don't think it's a very natural arc. What I usually try to do is I call it a little bit of a late entry into the corner. I am running a little higher than the suggested line and trying to get down to the bottom. If I drift up in the corner a little bit, I don't worry too much about it if I'm not right down on the curbing there. But I try to make sure I am low on exit, because I do think that really helps you, is being low on exit. One of the things I'm doing with the brake is I am sometimes on the brake until almost mid-corner, but what I am doing is I'm hitting the brake hard as I am getting ready to enter, and then I am slowly easing off of the brake, because it's hard to get the car to turn when you're on the brake, but at the same time you got to get it slowed down or you can't make these sharp turns. So what I'm basically doing is hitting the brake hard when I get on it, then easing off of it as I work my way through the corner. Then when I am trying to exit, I'm trying to be fairly low, and I'm pretty much being I'm easing on the gas a little bit, but I'm pretty aggressive getting back on the gas. It's not a complete just drop the hammer, but it's pretty aggressive getting back on the gas. I'm not really feathering the throttle at all. And this track is very symmetrical. I'm basically doing the exact same thing coming up into 3. This is my mark right here, this Toyota sign, maybe at it or just before it. I am on the brake and I'm trying to be out close to the wall, and then again I call it a late entry. I'm a little bit maybe not completely above the suggested line, but I've usually got like 2 tires in it instead of being completely centered on it. Then again, don't worry about being, if I'm a little bit high coming through the middle, but I try to be low on exit, and when I am low on exit, I'm, like I said, pretty aggressive getting back in the throttle till I'm full throttle down to the start finish line. And like I said, I've ran a 19.65 with it. The tire wear on this is really good. It doesn't really give you any problems as the tires wear, I don't think. So I think it's a pretty solid setup, but let's go take a look at the setup. Okay, so looking at the setup, what to talk about. You know, this is real close to my cup setup. I basically took the cup setup and loosened it up a little bit. Generally, what you are talking about in the 3 series here is the trucks are very tight, the Xfinity cars in the middle, and the cup cars are really loose. So if you're going from one setup and trying to adapt it to another, sometimes they're pretty adaptable, sometimes they're not. In this case, what I basically did was took it and just tried to loosen it up a little bit from what I ran on the cup side. I think the weight distribution and the wedge are not that radical. I think you see a lot of people in that 51 range. The right spring, a lot of times I'll run 600, but on a flatter track I usually run softer springs in the back, and you don't get much flatter than Martinsville. I was surprised I only had to go down to a 570. I figured I'd have to go down much lower to keep it from spinning out, but I didn't. The camber settings. This is a real aggressive camber setup. The flatter the track, generally the more aggressive you have to be on the camber settings to get it to turn better. And when I say aggressive, I mean bigger numbers. The left number is going to be a bigger positive number. The right number is going to be a bigger negative number. That's how much you're slanting the wheel. So think of it as 0 as being perfectly straight up and down with the wheels, and then you are slanting them basically to the left to help you turn left. And on the left side, that is considered a positive camber. On the right side, that's considered a negative camber. But anyway, enough about that. Other things, the track bars. Big gap between left and right track bar, which is unusual for most setups, but that's again indicative of a flat track. The left track bar affects corner entry predominantly. The right track bar affects corner exit. Higher numbers make them looser, lower numbers make them tighter, but also the bigger gap you have between those two numbers makes it looser, and a smaller gap makes it tighter. So that bigger gap helps the car turn on this very flat, very tight track. What else? I don't know that there's a whole lot of anything else really that's unique about this. If the thing starts to get loose on you on exit or tight on exit when you're testing it, adjust that right track bar would be my go-to on Martinsville. If it's going to get loose, it's going to get loose when you're hitting the throttle, and that is generally something you can adjust with the track bar. So if that's happening, go down on that track bar. If you find yourself coming off a corner and keep smacking the wall every time because you can't get it to turn, go up on that track bar. But I think your big problem here, if you have any with this setup, would be on corner exit, and I would suggest track bar as being your go-to adjustment there. With all that being said, I will shut up and let you guys work with this setup and tell me what you think. Thank you guys for the support. If you like this setup or like this content, please smash that like button and subscribe to the video or subscribe to the channel for more great content. I think I'm up to 850 subscribers now, which absolutely blows me away. Thank you guys all for the support. It means so much to me. With that, I will really shut up, tell you guys have a great night, and hope this setup gives you lots of fast laps.